Welcome to Trandy Wisdom, where every story reveals a timeless truth, and each moment invites you to see the world with new eyes. Today, we return to the sacred garden of beginnings, where the sky held its breath, and the earth bloomed beneath the footsteps of a newborn child, the day the Buddha was born. The story of Vesak is not just a tale of the past, but a mirror for the present. It is a story about light, about stillness, about the gentle power of awakening, not far away, but within you. Let us begin. 1. Lumbini. The first breath between heaven and earth, in the gentle land of Lumbini, long before the borders of kingdoms and names of nations had hardened into stone. There was a garden, and in that garden, the air moved softly, as if it too were breathing. Trees stood with quiet dignity, and the earth, moistened by the monsoon's recent memory, wore a fragrance only known to those who walk barefoot and listen. The garden did not prepare for greatness. It simply was, fully, silently, humbly present one morning. As the moon still lingered behind the edge of dawn, Queen Maya, weary from travel, stopped beneath a blooming sal tree. The world seemed to pause with her. The birds ceased their songs. The wind calmed its breath, and even the sky tilted slightly, curious and watchful. And in that holy pause, a child was born, not in a palace or temple, but in a garden open to the sky, to the wind, and to the earth. A sacred life emerged not from spectacle, but from nature's quiet embrace. We often imagine great births as loud, glorious, thunderous, with omens and proclamations. But here, it was a breath, a long, slow inhale from the universe, followed by the exhale of a tiny cry. The baby's voice did not shake the world, it touched it. The child who would later be known as the Buddha arrived not to conquer, but to belong. He came not to demand, but to observe, not to declare, but to awaken. He was called Siddhartha, the one who brings fulfillment. But in that moment, he was simply a baby, vulnerable, warm, his skin touching the air for the first time, his breath mingling with the breath of trees and leaves. And that first breath is something we all share. In the moment we are born, we are closer to the sacred than at any other time. We do not speak of wealth or ambition then. We do not ask for anything but presence. That is the teaching of birth. That is the gift of Lumbini. Queen Maya held him for a brief time, her heart full and trembling. Some say she passed soon after. But even if that is so, let us not see it as tragedy. In the way the leaf falls to nourish the earth, she offered her body so that compassion might bloom. Her love was silent and complete, like the soil that holds the seed, without needing to see the flower. In the legends, it is said that the infant Buddha took 7 steps, and with each step, a lotus bloomed. Some laugh at this story, saying, "How can a newborn walk?" But to laugh is to miss the point. This is not a tale for the logical mind. It is a whisper to the heart. Each step is not about movement, but awakening. It is the soul's journey through the garden of awareness. Each lotus is a realization, a reminder that the path is not walked with feet alone, but with mindfulness, with presence, with deep looking. And when the child took those steps, whether in reality or in spirit, he turned to the sky and said, "In the heavens above and on the earth below, I alone am the honored one." This too confuses many. How arrogant, they say, but listen carefully, not with the ears, but with the silence inside. What the Buddha was saying was not, "I am greater than you," but this life, this presence, this being, it is sacred. He was not proclaiming ego. He was announcing awakening. He was declaring what is true for all of us, that each life is a miracle, each breath a treasure, each moment a temple. To honor the Buddha's birth is to remember our own, not just the physical birth, but the moment we first realized we were alive, the moment we looked at a tree and saw not wood, but wonder, the moment we heard the rain and felt it inside our chest, the moment we sat alone and were not lonely. These are our Lumbini moments. These are the places where the Buddha is born again, not in history books or statues, but in the very core of our being. There is a deeper teaching in the way this birth happened outdoors. No walls, no roofs, just sky, wind, and earth. The Buddha did not come into a world of separation, but of interbeing. His first lesson to us, though he did not speak it, was this: you do not need to go far to find the sacred. The sacred is the tree that gives shade, the grass that bends without breaking, the breeze that touches your face without asking your name. The sacred is this moment, this breath, if only we return to it. Sometimes we forget. We are caught in the storm of our thoughts, the calendar of our ambitions, the expectations others hang around our necks. But when we sit quietly, when we return to the breath, we too return to Lumbini. We too are reborn. And perhaps that is the real meaning of Vesak. Not only to remember the Buddha's birth, but to allow it to happen in us, again and again. Each time we touch stillness, each time we remember to be kind. There are no fireworks in Lumbini. There is no stage, no crown, no loud choir, only the quiet celebration of the earth, welcoming someone who will teach us how to suffer less, and not with magic, not with commands, but with understanding, with compassion, with presence. If you close your eyes and breathe now, you can return there. You don't need a passport, just your breath. Feel the air entering your body. It is the same air that brushed against the leaves in that garden. Feel the ground beneath you. It is the same earth that welcomed the Buddha's feet. You are not separate from that story. You are inside it. Lumbini is not only a place in Nepal. It is a place in you. It is the part of you that longs to be gentle, that remembers how to listen, that loves without needing a reason. It is the part of you that cries when someone is kind. It is the part of you that wants to wake up, not from sleep, but from fear, from judgment, from forgetfulness. The Buddha was born into a world full of suffering. So are we. But just as he took that first breath with calm and clarity, we too can begin again. Right now, in this very breath. Let the story of Lumbini not remain in the past. Let it be the beginning of your own story. The story of waking up. The story of walking gently. The story of coming home. And as you breathe out, smile. Not for anyone else, but for yourself. Because today, in this moment, the Buddha is being born in you. 2. Vesak, a lotus blooming. Across time, when we speak of Vesak, we do not speak only of a day marked on a calendar, a celebration carried out once a year. Vesak is a doorway. It is a quiet gate through which the heart may pass to remember, not to remember in the way of clinging to the past, but to remember in the sense of returning to the present, to the breath, to the wonder that is always here. People often say that on the full moon of Vesak, 3 great events in the Buddha's life occurred: his birth in Lumbini, his awakening under the Bodhi tree, and his passing into Mahaparinirvana in Kushinagar. Some may doubt that such coincidence is possible, but the Dharma does not rely on the logic of the mind alone. It speaks through symbols and presence. It teaches that time is not merely a line, but a flower unfolding in many petals at once. So let us not ask, did it really happen this way? Let us ask instead, what does this moment invite me to see? Vesak, in this way, is not a historical commemoration, but a living truth. It is a lotus blooming across time, past, present, and future. each petal a reflection of the Buddha's path, each petal a part of your own. The first petal is birth, not merely physical birth, but the moment we realize that to be alive is a gift. When we were born, the world made space for us. The sun rose for us. The wind danced for us. But as we grow older, we often forget. We become entangled in our thoughts, our schedules, our fears. Vesak is a reminder to be born again, not into another life, but into this one, fully present and aware. You can be born again simply by breathing with mindfulness. Inhale. This is a new beginning. Exhale. I have arrived. Each breath is an opportunity to touch life deeply, to be reborn into wonder. On Vesak, when you light a candle or offer a flower, do not do it only for a Buddha from long ago. Do it for the Buddha within you, waiting to open his eyes. The second petal is awakening. This is not something reserved for saints or sages. It is possible for each of us, in every moment, if we know how to stop and look deeply. The Buddha, before his awakening, tried many paths. He practiced severe austerities, held his breath for hours, starved his body, but in the end, he sat beneath a tree and breathed. He stopped running. He touched the earth, and he remembered that he was already home. Awakening is not becoming something else. It is coming back to what we truly are: whole, open, aware, and kind. When we wash the dishes, we can be awake. When we walk through the garden, we can be awake. When we listen with compassion, we awaken not only ourselves, but the world. Vesak invites us to reflect. What is it I truly seek? More possessions? More status? More control? Or now am I seeking peace? Am I ready to sit quietly, like the Buddha, and look deeply into my suffering, into the suffering of others, and touch the roots of understanding? In every Vesak lantern that glows in the night, there is a gentle call. Wake up, dear one. The light is already in you. The third petal is passing, what we often call death. But in the Dharma, it is more tenderly known as continuation. The Buddha, when he prepared to leave his body, did not resist. He lay down peacefully, on his right side, in the lion's pose. He told his disciples not to cling to his form, but to live in accordance with the Dharma. Be a lamp unto yourselves. He said, take refuge in the teaching and in your own mindful steps. To contemplate the Buddha's passing on Vesak is not to feel sorrow, but gratitude. He showed us that letting go can be gentle, that death can be a teacher, that the body may dissolve, but the wisdom, the compassion, the love, these do not end. They become part of the great stream of life, flowing into the hearts of all who continue the practice. You do not need to wear special robes or recite ancient chants to feel this. You only need to sit quietly and breathe in and out with presence, to feel your feet on the earth, to be kind to yourself, to be available to others. These are the true offerings of Vesak. Let us not mistake the ceremony for the essence. It is beautiful to gather, to decorate temples, to walk in procession with lanterns. But if we are not present, if our minds are lost in distraction or desire, the true Vesak does not bloom. The true celebration is in the silence of your heart. When you remember that the Buddha is not outside of you, the Buddha is in the way you pour tea for your mother. The Buddha is in the way you pick up trash on the street. The Buddha is in your smile when you greet a stranger. This is the living Vesak, not one day, but every day. When we see a lotus bloom on the surface of a muddy pond, we remember that beauty arises from difficulty. The Buddha was not born into paradise. He was born into a world of suffering, birth, aging, sickness, death, and separation. But he did not turn away. He looked deeply. He embraced the pain with compassion. He found the path of liberation. Vesak reminds us that we, too, can do this. No matter how busy or broken or burdened we feel, we can pause, we can breathe, we can begin again. Sometimes people ask me, how should I celebrate Vesak? And I say, walk slowly, eat mindfully, listen deeply, love fully. That is more than enough. That is the celebration the Buddha wished for. When you look at the full moon on Vesak, let it be more than a symbol. Let it be a mirror. See in its glow your own potential for awakening. See how its light touches everyone without discrimination, the rich and the poor, the joyful and the grieving, the kind and the cruel. This is how we must love. This is how we must live. We may light incense and offer flowers, but the most fragrant offering is our presence. We may chant sutras, but the deepest sound is our compassionate listening. We may build altars, but the truest altar is the stillness of our own mind. Let this Vesak not pass you by. Let it enter your bones. Let it breathe in you. Let it walk with you into the marketplace, into the kitchen, into your conversations. Let it become your way of seeing, your way of touching the world. And if today you feel tired, or sad, or unworthy, remember, the Buddha was once like you. He struggled, he searched, he doubted, but he sat, he breathed, he woke up. So can you. This Vesak. Do not look far. Look inward. The lotus is blooming there. It always has been. 3. Living Vesak in every breath. Vesak is not confined to one day. It is not limited by ritual, ceremony, or tradition. Vesak is not a place you go, or a garment you wear. Vesak is a way of being. It is the quiet unfolding of presence, the soft glow of understanding, and the stillness that arises when one returns fully to the breath. To live Vesak in every breath means to carry its essence beyond the temple gates, beyond the full moon of May, and into the intimacy of daily life. It means to remember that the light we honor in the Buddha is not separate from the light within ourselves. The celebration is not something we prepare for once a year. It is something we return to each morning, each evening, each moment we awaken to the truth of what is. This truth is not grand or distant. It is simple. A cup of tea held with both hands, a single breath, followed all the way in and all the way out. A glance of kindness, a silence shared without the need for words. These are the true altars of awakening. These are the living petals of Vesak that bloom not in stories from long ago, but in the quiet center of our lives. We live Vesak when we rise in the morning and pause before reaching for our phones, when we take a breath before responding to anger, when we walk slowly, not to arrive, but to enjoy each step. This is the path the Buddha walked, not through extraordinary feats, but through extraordinary presence. He sat beneath a tree, breathed deeply, and saw clearly into the nature of suffering. And from that stillness, compassion was born. To bring Vesak into each breath is to honor the possibility of compassion in our own lives, not as an ideal, but as a lived experience. When we speak gently to someone who is hurting, we are living Vesak. When we forgive ourselves for past mistakes and begin again, we are living Vesak. When we meet difficulty with understanding instead of fear, we are carrying the flame of awakening into the world. This does not mean we need to be perfect. The path is not one of flawless calm, but of continuous return. We stray, we forget, we fall into restlessness, judgment, distraction, but then we come back. We remember to breathe. We remember that this moment is enough, that we do not need to be somewhere else, someone else, to live a sacred life. Each time we return to the present, we touch the living heart of Vesak. We may associate Vesak with the Buddha's life, his birth, his awakening, and his passing. But these are not three separate events bound to history. They are ongoing invitations. Each breath is a birth. Each moment of clarity is a small awakening. Each act of letting go is a form of release. The Buddha's life continues not in relics or scripture, but in the way we bring attention and love into this moment. There is great beauty in the ceremonies of Vesak, the lanterns, the chanting, the gathering of community, but their purpose is not to distract or entertain. Their purpose is to remind us, to help us return, to quiet the noise around us, so that we may hear what is always whispering within. You are here. You are alive. This is the miracle. Living Vesak in every breath also means learning how to be with suffering, not to escape it, not to cover it up, but to meet it with care. The Buddha's path did not avoid pain. It faced it with courage. In our own lives, we suffer. We lose people we love. We encounter illness, fear, confusion. But if we meet our suffering with tenderness, we transform it, not by force, but by understanding, not by resistance, but by acceptance. When we practice being with what is, without needing to change it, we create space for healing. We begin to understand that pain is not a punishment, nor is it permanent. It is a wave passing through the ocean of our awareness. To live Vesak is to sit with that wave, breathe through it, and wait for the calm that follows. In a world so often driven by speed, consumption, and ambition, to live simply, mindfully, and kindly is a quiet act of revolution. Vesak is not only a light we celebrate, it is a light we become. Each time we bring compassion to a difficult situation, we help that light grow. Each time we speak with integrity, act with mindfulness, or listen with our full attention, we plant the seeds of peace. There is no need for grand declarations, no need to travel far or change your name. You can live Vesak wherever you are. You can sit quietly in your room and breathe with the moonlight. You can water a plant with attention. You can hold the hand of a child, or wash the dishes with care. These are not distractions from the spiritual path. These are the path. To live Vesak in every breath is to understand that awakening is not a destination. It is a way of seeing, a way of relating, a way of being. It means you notice when your heart is closing, and you choose to open it. You notice when your mind is racing, and you choose to pause. You notice when your words are sharp, and you choose to soften. It also means that you forgive yourself when you forget, that you offer yourself the same compassion you wish to give the world. Living Vesak is not about being better. It is about being real, being here, being whole. There is no need to wait for the perfect time. No need to wait until your life is quiet, or your mind is settled, or your house is in order. The time is now. The breath you are taking as you read these words. This is the door. Step through it. Step into your life with fresh eyes. Imagine a world in which millions of people lived. Vesak in their breath, not once a year, but each day. A world where people listened more than they spoke, where they walked gently on the earth, where they looked at one another and saw not a stranger, but a mirror. That world is not a dream. It is a possibility, and it begins with you. Begin where you are. Begin by sitting quietly. Even for 1 minute, feel the rise and fall of your breath. Feel the contact of your body with the ground. Listen to the sounds around you without naming or judging. Let the silence grow. Let it nourish you. From that place, you can return to your day, not as a task to conquer, but as a field to cultivate. You will forget. You will rush. You will be swept away again and again. That is okay. The breath is always here. The path is always waiting. You do not need to understand everything. You do not need to solve the world. You only need to come back to your breath, to your steps, to the living presence of this moment. That is enough. That is more than enough. This is how we live, Vesak. Not in a temple, not in a text, but in the sacred rhythm of daily life, in the way we wake up, the way we speak, the way we love, in the way we greet the morning with gratitude and the evening with peace, in the way we return, again and again, to what is true. Vesak is not a memory. It is a mirror. When you breathe with awareness, when you see with compassion, when you live with understanding, the Buddha walks with you. The path unfolds beneath your feet. The world becomes your monastery, and your breath becomes a prayer without words, a prayer that never ends. And so, the story does not end in Lumbini, or beneath the Bodhi tree, or in the quiet grove of passing. It lives on, in your breath, in your steps, in the way you choose to meet each moment. Vesak is not just a memory. It is a path we walk every day, with mindfulness, with compassion, with gentle awareness. Thank you for joining us on this journey. May the light of awakening bloom quietly within you, and may your life become a living story of peace. This is Trandy Wisdom, where truth is not just told, but lived.